Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I have a local actress from Santa Cruz on the show that I've known for a very long time now. Her name is Judy Cerda. She has been in a lot of local films that were shot. I've known her for almost 10 years now. From going to karaoke parties in the Bay Area and stuff. And we're going to talk about her career, starting from modeling to acting, and our days going to those karaoke parties, etc. and stuff. And so today I'm going to have Judy Cerda on the show. By the way, I'm recovering from eating lots of apple pie yesterday for my 35th birthday. It was a lot of fun. One of the best birthdays I've ever had. Probably the best I've had in a long time. Yep. So, here's my interview with Judy Cerda.
Hello?
Judy?
Yes?
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm out by the pool right now at the Hilton in Gilroy, where I'm doing a role-playing acting job for a couple of days. So they put me up here in this nice hotel. It's really beautiful.
Oh, that's great. How's the weather over there?
It's okay. It's fairly warm. Right here by the pool it's pretty hot because the sun is beating down on the area, but it's also a little windy for Gilroy. Not as hot as Gilroy usually gets.
Yeah, it's about 90 degrees over here in Redding.
Oh, is it? Wow, that
Yeah.
is pretty hot. I'd say it's probably about 82 around here.
Nice. Yeah, it's so awesome. Yeah, you're on the show today. We've known each other for a long time now, and I'd like to go back to the beginning. So when did you know that you wanted to be an actress?
I knew that when I was 5 years old, and my kindergarten teacher asked us all to write down what we wanted to be when we grew up, and I put down a star. I loved watching TV shows, and I wanted to act on them, and I had a tape recorder back then that I used to have other kids act on with me, and I would produce my own little movies, as I called them, on a tape recorder. So I knew it was definitely something I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Who did you look up to, movie stars and stuff?
Just different people on TV shows. I don't think there was anybody in particular. I liked certain shows, and I liked seeing certain movies. I was really drawn to the horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
My father used to take us to the drive-in to see movies that were horror in theme, and I used to love seeing those, and I used to always think to myself, I could do that. I could play that kind of a role.
Mm-hmm. And
so then I got into theater soon after that. First it was actually dancing. I belonged to a dance performing group as a preteen and then a teenager, where I would perform at the fair and different events and have recitals. So I got into dancing first, and then I started getting into musical theater and working on singing and dancing and doing all kinds of acting on stage. So I was in that for quite a while before I got into films and TV.
Mm-hmm. What kind of theater did you do in terms of musicals?
I did Grease. I played the role of Marty Maraschino in that. She was the pink lady who sung Freddie My Love. That was a really good show. And I was in a chorus line, which was a dream come true for me. Yeah. I played the role of Bibi Bensenheimer and sung at the ballet in that one. That required lots and lots of rehearsals and late nights, but it was well worth it.
I love a chorus line. I've had the Asian girl from the movie Jan Gan Boyd on the show.
Oh, that's great. She must have played Connie, right?
Yeah. I'm actually going to be having her back on the show pretty soon. She's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it is a really good show. Lots of good music in it, lots of good dance routines.
Mm-hmm. Did you train with anybody famous when you learned acting?
I wouldn't say anybody famous, but I did live in Hollywood for a while and took classes from an instructor by the name of Laura Hippie, and I also took many acting classes in the Bay Area from a wonderful instructor named Dennis Sakamoto. I took both commercial acting and film acting from him.
Mm-hmm. Where did you grow up?
I grew up basically in the Bay Area, but then right after high school, I moved to Hollywood, moved into a beautiful home with a couple of roommates that I had met from a job I held while I was in high school, which was a business consulting company, and a client had referred me to this instructor, Laura, and said that she would be a good teacher to train with, so I just did take some classes from her and ended up being her roommate, moving over to LA for a while.
Didn't you do some modeling too?
Oh, yes, I do a lot of modeling now. I didn't really start out with that. I do more modeling now than I ever have. I do a lot of print ads for different places. I've appeared in a lot of books, in some different magazines. I've done a lot of ads for different places like Techion, PayPal, just quite a bit. Done a lot of print modeling, and also been in lifestyle videos, such as the one for the Santa Cruz Visitors Bureau video. That was a really fun one with a lot of great scenes around Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm. When did you move to Santa Cruz?
I actually don't live directly in Santa Cruz, but I spend a lot of time there, so I consider it home. I go out there a lot for fun to the nightclubs and karaoke bars, and then I've done a lot of TV shows there. I did a really good TV show called Rising Tide over there, wherein I had a lead role of Ellen, who's running a cosmetic company. I did a TV show there, plus I did some political TV shows. I did a lot of sci-fi TV shows as well. I've done some modeling over there and did a recent music video called Insane over in the Santa Cruz Capitola area. So I do quite a bit of work there, as well as in San Francisco on the East Bay. And I've always considered Santa Cruz my home, and I make a trip over there at least once a week.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a home in LA too?
No, I don't. But I do have an agent who submits me for projects over there, and thinking about moving to LA is definitely on the horizon, depending on how much work I get there and how much work I'm getting here. It will be a decision I'll have to make when the time is right.
Yeah, that's a dream I'm trying to make happen. It's very expensive out there. I've been trying to move there for 17 years.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
Actually the Bay Area is a lot more expensive than LA. I've looked into apartments there, and the apartments are a little less than they are here. They're really high in this area. But the thing is, it depends on where the work is. If I'm getting a lot of work here, then I'll want to stick around here. But if I start getting more work there, then that would be the place to be. Whatever will mean less plane flights.
Yeah. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there.
Yeah.
How long was it though before you were a working actress?
So when I started out, I started doing theater, as I said. It took several auditions to get into theater. I had to become more confident because I was very young and not really confident about being on stage. I could sing, but I was very nervous about it, so I had to learn how to sing on stage at auditions in front of people without the nerves. So once I started getting in the theater, then I was getting cast a lot, and then one day I just said, okay, that's it for theater. I don't really want to do this anymore, even though I do it somewhat for different companies. I do murder mystery plays, clue games, and different things for companies now. I don't do the typical plays where you have several different shows and you have rehearsals every night. I'm not really into doing that anymore. I'm more concentrating on films and commercials, and I started off auditioning for student films. So I got in those right away, which gave me some experience and clips to be able to show. So I started doing those and then branched out into independent director films, and then started getting into a lot of music videos because I could dance too, so I was able to use that skill. So I would say it took, in the beginning for commercials, it took a while. I got a few, but then it would seem like I'd go a while without getting them. It took a while for me to start really getting them regularly where I could make a living at it and do this as a regular job. So I'm very grateful now for what I have and the different activities that I'm doing in the entertainment business.
That's great. That's really good. I'll be honest with you, I've never seen any of your movies, but I have seen your demo reels on YouTube. You have quite a range, Judy.
Oh, yes, those are clips from the movies, yes. And I do have a lot of short films on there, too. If you browse through it, I've got Vile Strength, which is a movie I'm very proud of. That just showed in Los Angeles and won an award for Best Fantasy Film. And the director says it's been accepted into other film festivals in Los Angeles. but I did put it on my YouTube, so if you want to check that out, it's called Vile Strength, and another one called Vile Speed, which was the prequel to that, and there's quite a few on there, so take a look. A lot of those movies on there have played in film festivals, and there's also clips from some feature films, too, that have played in theaters.
Nice, nice. One movie you did early on that I'm very intrigued by is Telezombie, because you got to work with Brink Stevens, who's one of my favorite scream queens of all time.
Oh, yes, and that one played on Creature Features just last year, too.
Wow.
It made it on TV. Yeah, it was on the Creature Features as a featured movie, and they showed the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. What was it like working with her?
Actually, I did not work directly with her, although it looks like we're working together in the scene. Because of a scheduling conflict that I had, I could not make it on the same day. She was filming at the hair salon in San Francisco, so they moved my scenes to another day, and then they spliced them together.
Oh, okay. But
so it's interesting what they can do with film.
But did you get to meet her, though?
No, I did not meet her. No. When we had the movie premiere in San Francisco, she did not attend that one. But she is on my Facebook page, and we have, I guess, conversed a little bit on different posts about the movie, because every once in a while that movie resurfaces again and ends up playing somewhere, and we're always happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I met her 2 years ago at a horror convention, and I was just completely tongue-tied, because when I was like 8 or 9 years old, she had this like I don't think it was real. I think it was real, but I don't think it was serious. She had this like phone sex hotline or something, Brink's hotline or something. Yeah, and I remember like this was long before cell phones. I remember late at night watching one of her movies on USA Up All Night and seeing the ad for it, and like going into the kitchen and calling it, and like as soon as I dialed it, I hung up because I thought I heard one of my parents like waking up,
Oh wow.
So like
interesting.
Yeah, so like I was just completely tongue tied, and I just kept it brief. I just said, I've been a fan of you since I was a little boy, and and she was very nice, and I said, may I get a picture with you? And she said, sure. We took a couple pictures, and then I took her by the hand and kissed it, and she loved that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a really good experience. I loved meeting her.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that was a fun movie to make.
Oh yes, yeah, I absolutely loved it.
That was one of your first, right?
Actually, Borderlines, there were several, Dancing on Coals, Borderlines, there were several that I got right in a row. But yeah, that was towards the beginning. That was one of my first feature films.
Nice. So what are your favorite horror films?
That I've been in or that I've seen?
That you've seen.
I really liked the Friday the 13th one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I really enjoy those. Let's see, there were some others. There was one I saw last year. I'm not recalling the name of it, but it was a really good movie about a family living in a house and something was in the basement. I like those kinds where they're living in some mansion and there's something living in the house. Those are always the really scary ones that get very intense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's quite a few. It would be hard to say which one was my favorite. I enjoy it if they're really intense and they have meaning to them and have a good twist to them.
Yeah, I love the original Friday the 13th. That's my favorite slasher movie of all time. I also love all the George Romero zombie movies and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween and just all the classics and stuff. And, of course, all the ones that Brink Stevens did in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chainsaw Massacre is a good one, too. Yes, I did like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of them can get pretty creepy, but at least you leave the movie theater thinking, boy, my problems are nothing compared to the people who have problems in that movie.
Yeah. My dad saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the theater when he was like 17. He said, oh, God, there were people just frightened. Some of them were vomiting. I mean, it was just a scare fest. back then.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
bad? Wow.
Yeah, it's so mild compared to now, but back then it was the scariest movie ever, like right after The Exorcist.
Yeah, I think Chainsaw Massacre, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, rather, was based on a true story. That's what I had heard.
Yeah.
That there were some crimes committed like that, and they made a movie of it. So there was reality to that one.
Yeah, it happened in like the late 60s or something like that. I remember reading about that. Yeah, Tobe Hooper, he liked to do movies that were based on real stuff. Like right after that, he did a movie called Eaten Alive. It was about this serial killer who used to like lure women into his house and feed them to his alligator.
Oh my gosh! I didn't see that one, but that brought to mind another one that was one of my favorites, The Silence of the Lambs. That was a really good one. That was pretty gross in some parts, but that was a good one.
Oh yeah, Academy Award winner and everything.
Yeah.
The classic. Yeah, and I love of course, I love the old black and white horror movies too.
Yeah, that's good. That reminds me of one I did recently, which is black and white, which is not really horror but thriller, called Hybrid. And I put a scene from that on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. And that's about, well, I won't tell you too much what it's about, but just involving a man I'm dating who turns out to be not what he says he is, and it's called Hybrid. And that movie is going to be released this year. It's a feature film.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have my scene. I did get permission from the director to put that on YouTube so I could showcase that scene. So that's a pretty good one. And he did do it in black and white to emulate the old style.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice, yeah. I like the old black and whites. Those are good. So I've known you for almost 10 years now. I used to see you at the meetups at the Zen Lounge in Mountain View.
Oh, yes, all the karaoke parties. Those are the ones I went to. I had met Dev and had met some other people at Effie's one night, and they told me about their group and that they have karaoke parties, and my husband was working nights then, and I liked going out singing during the week while he was at work, so I said, sure, I'll join. I'll go to those, and pretty soon it became a weekly thing where every Tuesday night we would have a party at either Zen Lounge or Effie's or somewhere, and the Zen Lounge ones were the best because they involved dancing with a really good DJ there. So those were really good, fun times.
Oh yeah, DJ Purple. I was a bouncer at a bar in San Mateo called the Swinging Door, and he really saved our bar from being obscure because we had really slow business that first 6 months or so that I was there, and he really saved it.
Yes, he does a great job.
Mm-hmm. I remember going to those parties at Zen, and I was miserable all the time because my girlfriend had just broken up with me, and I became very needy. I remember, and I was a little bit intimidated because a lot of people there were like higher class than me, and it was just a little intimidating. But you were always very nice to me.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yes, it was nice to meet you, and we all had a good time there. Nobody was really worrying about who was from what class or who was, had what occupation. We were all friends having a good time, and everybody really bonded and had some fun times there as well as a few other places.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you were like the only woman I never hit on because I respected the fact that you were married,
Oh, that's nice. That's really good.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't until the very last party that was there that I went to where I actually got to leave with somebody. I left with this like late 50s, I think she was like in her late 50s. This black woman that I met who we were talking to each other like half the night and flirting, and like she drove me home and. Do you mind if I tell you a PG sex story?
Okay, go ahead. It's your show. It's up to you. It's your show. Whatever you want the public to hear.
She took me home, and like all I got to do was kiss her and play with her clitoris. That was all I got to do, and she wouldn't let me go any further. And then I remember a couple months later, I saw her at Wendy's, and she had texted me like a few days later and told me she got back with her ex. Well, I saw her with her ex at Wendy's like a couple months later, and he looked pretty similar to me. He was a white guy, and he was big like me, you know. And
Yeah.
I remember her telling me that that she loved the way I smiled and stuff. And so like we made eye contact and saw each other, and like I smiled basically just to like make her think about, you know, what she did to me, you know.
Oh.
And yeah, so I never saw her again, but like I remember that particular night the most, more than anything.
But did you call her? Did you call her again after that night?
Oh yeah, I texted her and or called her, one of the two, and yeah, she told me she had gotten back with her ex.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you might have called her before then and seen her one more time. I didn't realize it was immediately afterwards.
Yeah, no, I left the bar with her that night. She drove me home. We were in the parking lot. I lived right next to a CVS pharmacy, and like we were in the CVS pharmacy parked, you know, and all I got to do was make out with her and rub her clitoris, and that was that. That was
okay.
all that happened.
That's not quite PG.
Oh.
But anyway, at least she was honest and told you that she was back with her ex, and you accepted that like a man. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you didn't go into a rage or go crazy on her or call her names or anything like some people I know out there. So
oh, no.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing that you handled it right. You know, the right one will come along for you.
Yeah. I mean, I was only like 26 at the time, and I've always had this very mature outlook on women and stuff. So yeah, I would never do anything like that. You know, call names or anything like that.
Yeah, it's good because there's disrespectful people out there, very jealous people. You know, very stalker type of guys out there. So it's good that you're not like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had two very good parents who brought me up to be a gentleman and respect women.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing.
Have you sang karaoke lately?
I do. I go out a lot in Santa Cruz to a place called Coasters, and sometimes to Ideal Bar and Grill. I did both of those on, Saturday last weekend. Had a really good time doing both. So I go there regularly. Once in a while I'll go to Effie's. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the time it's pretty much working on my acting career, submitting myself on casting sites, getting my work out there, and working hard.
Yep. What are your best karaoke songs?
I like the song Someone to Watch Over Me. That's an old song from the 1920s, and I learned it because I did this movie called Stranger Things Have Happened, and that was the theme song in the movie, and I thought it was a beautiful song, so I just had to learn it. So I learned it from YouTube on the internet, being sung by Linda Ronstadt, so then I started singing it in karaoke bars. But then I also sing updated ones like I'd Rather Be by Clean Bandit, Summertime Sadness by Lana Del Rey, and there's quite a few that I do. Some are very good dance songs, which gets the crowd dancing. Others are ballads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine are anything like from the Beatles or the Talking Heads or Steve Miller. Those are like my best songs.
Oh, are they? That's great. The Beatles are an all-time classic. I still hear people sing Beatles songs in karaoke bars, and I have a friend that I sing Ticket to Ride with sometimes. He won't get up and sing alone, so they made me learn it so I could get up and sing it with him in Santa Cruz. So sometimes we sing that, and that's a real crowd pleaser.
Yeah, you always will hear those songs because, you know, they're just like, you know, Beethoven and Mozart. They did, you know, timeless songs for rock and roll for so many generations, you know. Mm-hmm. They were just great and stuff. I was curious, in all the years that you've been acting, have you ever had the misfortune, you know, going back to, you know, men being a gentleman or not a gentleman, have you ever had the misfortune of having Me Too experiences?
What do you mean by that?
Have you ever been the victim of sexual harassment?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't say out and out harassment, but there have been some who have wanted to discuss roles with me and asked me to go to dinner with them, which irritates me because I don't like being played like that. And I would say, well, is this an audition? And they would say no. And I'd say, well, why can't you talk to me about this over the phone and tell me about the role? So there have been several like that who have tried to get me to go to dinner, meet them in San Francisco, and say, let's meet and talk about it. And I'll say, well, you could certainly email me all the information or talk on the phone. And then because I don't go to dinner with them, they disappear, which isn't fair, but that has happened. And there was one once that I had a bad experience with who hired me to do a voiceover job, and he was actually recording this at his apartment, which sometimes happens. People have recording studios at their apartments. And when I got there, then he started hemming and hawing about how the project wasn't really ready, that I had confirmed with him the night before that I was ready to do it. And then he started arguing about the pay and said, well, we're not really agreeing on the pay, so let's just go to lunch together. Let's just spend time together. And that was really upsetting because I said, I am not here for that. I'm a married woman, but even if I wasn't, I wouldn't appreciate being treated like that. I just wanted to do the job, get paid, and go. So I ended up leaving that person, but it was pretty upsetting because you don't like to drive over somewhere expecting to do a job and then have somebody hit on you like that.
No.
That's really irritating.
No.
And then there have been others online too, especially on Facebook, a lot who say, I was thinking, let's go away for a weekend to Las Vegas here or there because there's a movie role I want to talk to you about. Let's get to know each other and all that. And of course I say, no, that's not happening. Or I say, great, my husband and I will meet you in Las Vegas. We'll meet up for dinner. And of course they don't like that. But yeah, it's that kind of harassment.
Yeah, I can just never understand that. I mean, it's just so pig-headed and just stupid, I think,
Yeah, you got to respect that actresses are out there to get work and parts. They're not trying to find dates in the dating scene, whether they have a husband or not. There's a difference between business and pleasure. And if they're dedicated the way I am, you're after the business end of it. You want to make sure you do your role, you get paid, you do a good job, the production goes somewhere, and that's what you're concentrating on.
I totally agree with you on that. Oh my God, just in this culture is just it's changing rapidly for the better. I have to say, in terms of women coming forward and stuff. I just don't like the ones that are like making up stories. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I have said before. That a lot are making up the stories to jump on the bandwagon. There may be some true cases, but there are others who are just going crazy with it because they want to get money or they want to get publicity, and they're saying this person did this and that when it was a consensual thing or they actually dated somebody. I mean, you have to be smart about it. And if they were going to certain men's motels or they were agreeing to go out with them, and then all of a sudden they say he did this or that, yet they waited 20 or 30 years to come out with the truth, it's not very likely.
Yeah, anybody can make a statement nowadays and somebody will follow.
Yeah, people can lie about a lot of things. They can say a lot of things about people that aren't true, and I just think it's sick. It's really, really sick. You have to be a sick and mad person to want to do that, try to ruin somebody's reputation because they rejected you or because something didn't go right in your life and you want to get back. It's just so wrong.
Yep, sure is. So, what movies you got coming up?
Well, as I mentioned, Hybrid is going to be released this year. I worked with a wonderful director, Alice, for that one, and I'm very proud of the role. I had one of the leads in it, and also the movie Vile Strength, which just played at the film festival and won the award. That one is going to play in many more film festivals in LA, but it will be coming to San Francisco also, which will be great for people over here to see it. And there's other commercials I've done that should be coming out soon. There's a music video I did with the Egyptian Lover as a dancer. That's going to be coming out soon, so I'm excited to have that come out.
Nice. Have you worked with Deborah Lamb?
No, I haven't worked with her, but I have been in some documentaries that she was in also for Last Doorway Productions, where I was interviewed about my career as a horror film actress, and she has been in those as well. We haven't met personally.
Yeah, she's a good friend of mine.
We've been in the same thing.
Yeah, she's a good friend of mine. I've had her on the show twice. I had her on 2 weeks ago It ended up becoming one of my most viewed episodes because we spent 80 minutes talking about masturbation and foot fetishism.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, all her friends were just going crazy over it, and they were friending me on Facebook.
Oh, that's funny. You really have to wonder about people, you know, if that's the biggest thing in their life.
Yep.
That's strange.
Yep. So, Judy, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. It was nice being on your show.
Yes, and I wish you the best, and I'll talk to you soon. Maybe have you come back on and talk about other projects in the future.
That sounds great. I'd be happy to.
Great, and I'll send this to you to share and everything.
Great.
Okay.
I look forward to hearing it. That sounds very good.
Yep, and enjoy the pool.
I will. Thank you so much, Tommy. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Judy Cerda. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Judy. That was a really fun little interview that we just did, talking about Zen Lounge and all your movie rules and stuff like that. And I promise I'll eventually see some of your movies. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.